Alright, here we're going to use this paper cutter to put the paper on the lamp, and so we need to know a couple of different things here. Every lamp is the same this way, which you can see is about 5, and then the grooves go in about 1/4 of an inch if you add the two together. So what you want to do is cut your paper to about 5.5 widthwise, and everyone's will be that, 5.5. But the other measurement that you're going to need is this one. So you can use a tape measure or a ruler. This one is a little bit less than 10 3/4. So I'm going to remember those two measurements here. I'm going to do my cutting. I'm going to set my lamp aside and take a look at what we got going on down here. So here's our paper cutter. We have, just like on our machines, we have a fence here which has a rule on it in inches, and you can see that this grid is marked off at each 1/2 inch, and the paper cutter is dangerous just like the other machines because it has this blade here that if you put your finger there and you put down on that, it would take your finger off. So when you use this, you want to make sure that your left hand is away from the blade holding the material down, and that your right hand is moving the blade. So you have a couple options for paper. On the top shelf here we have this larger paper, which is 11 inches by 17 inches. This is thin paper, printer paper, and this is 8.5 by 11, depending on the size of your lamp. And on the bottom we have cardstock, which is thick, both in 11 by 17 and 8.5 by 11. So I'm going to make my cuts here. So I decided that I needed to cut 5.5 inches by a little bit less than 10 3/4. So that's my measurement that I'm going to use. I'll do this with the thin paper. I'm going to make the first cut. This up, the one that's a little bit less than 10 3/4, and then I'll check it. So I hold this against the fence, just like when I cut wood, and I'm going to lower this down. And then I'll check to see if this fits before I do my next cut. So you can see that fits perfect. There's not any wrinkles. And now the next cut I'm going to make is 5.5. So I set this at 5.5, hold this against the fence, make sure my fingers aren't under the blade, and I cut that one. Alright, so I'm going to put this inside of the groove here. It's a little bit wider than it needs to be, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to fold down the edges a little bit so I can fit it in the groove. So, I'm going to do a little bit, see what I'm doing. Take this and fold it over just a little bit, all the way along here. On both sides. As you can see, it's just a little bit of a fold, about maybe 1/8 of an inch, and try to get that pretty tight. It'll be easier to put in. And then I'm going to try to work this into the grooves here. So I'll get one side in, push it in there, and then very carefully push this up into the other side. There we go.